Hi guys, and welcome back to the Mag Lounge podcast. In today's episode, I'm joined by Mcwilliam, artist, creative and founder of RADGE Magazine, a publication celebrating working class culture and creativity across the Northeast. In today's episode, we chat about Meg's creative journey from her childhood to launching her own publication, which in just over a year has launched a total of 4 issues and gained over 13,000 followers. Together, we explore what it means to be a northern working class creative, how place and identity shape the way we make and think, and why authentic storytelling matters more now than ever before. So sit back, relax, and get inspired. Yeah, Meg, I don't know if you want to start by giving people a little rundown of you and RADGE Magazine and what you do.
So RADGE Magazine is basically all of, I would say, the best bits of Northeast culture, like the culture of when I was growing up. So like I always think of like N-Dubs and like N-Dubs and New Monkey, like the camp like tabloid vibes of like Katie Price, but then also like the working class like political culture behind it, and how the Northeast is quite often, like more than not, being overlooked, especially like in the creative industries and even just in like political policy. And I don't think you see that much like in a publication. It embodies what it means to be from the Northeast, but also to have grown up in the Northeast and grown up working class in the Northeast, which you don't really see. Like I think quite a lot of magazines here, like they're amazing, but the focus maybe is more on specific like bits such as like music or theatre, whereas RADGE kind of like embodies the more political side of it, and it's more built on like a feeling. It's like a collection of like every issue. I make sure to have perspective from so many different people in society, so it's a collection of culture here.
So obviously with your journey, because you've touched a little bit there on growing up in the Northeast, and I'd like to know how that was for you. What was your childhood like? Do you feel like that's inspired elements of your creative work now with RADGE Magazine?
I would say RADGE Magazine is kind of like everything I thought my mum was, like when I was little, or like my auntie. So like I grew up in like Darlington on like a council estate, and like a lot of people are like, oh well, Darlow, like you can't even say the word RADGE, and it's like everyone there says RADGE. But yeah, so I grew up on a council estate, but like I never, being working class was never kind of like an identity thing for me until I left Darlow, because everyone I was surrounded by was working class. Obviously going to like school and stuff, I realised there was like poverty around, and like we weren't treated as well like other regions by Westminster, but also like we had our own ways of like making do and like mending. So it's only really when I went to like sixth form where it was like integrated of people like even from like North Yorkshire, like Richmond way, where they are maybe a bit more well off, that I realised, oh my god, like I'm working class, and this actually sometimes is a detriment to me. Like I love being working class, but there's people here that go on ski holidays, and I was like going to Butlins, do you know what I mean? Like, and I was just like, wow, like I can't believe like how the other half live. And then even going into uni, you're not just around people from like North Yorkshire and Richmond, you're with people that have been like grew up in London or Surrey or the Cotswolds, and it's just a completely different world. And I think you don't realise that how different it is until you actually get out of that small like working class town when you're surrounded by working class people. In uni, like you're kind of made aware that you are at a disadvantage as like a northern working class person, because even if these people have chosen, like I studied at Northumbria, but I knew people that had chosen to study in the north from the south just because they'd seen it on Geordie Shore, and they wanted to go to like a party for the party, and to them like it was like, I'm just going to come here, I'm going to party. I had in my head, oh my god, I need to do well because I'm going to have student debt. I like obviously love a party, but like these people knew leaving uni that they would have that job lined up, whereas I was there like I need to make something of myself to get out of where I am. Like I love being working class, but also it's kind of like I want stability, and you don't have that stability like growing up working class, and you constantly like, even now with money, you don't want to spend big amounts of money because you're like, what if next month I don't have that money? And you kind of hoard a bit of money, and then it's like, or you're living paycheck to paycheck, and it's just like chasing that stability, I think really like comes from just growing up working class in the northeast. Like, I still do it now. I think, like, especially what I've noticed in like the creative industries is the creative industries loves to like adopt working class aesthetics. Like, say, I always use this as an example. Burberry in the 90s and 2000s was so desperate to get away from this Burberry check. They saw it as like chavvy, and they just discontinued it. So then a few fashion weeks ago, a few years ago, fashion weeks, Burberry had like brought it back, and they did like an editorial in a greasy spoon, and like they had all this working class culture with American models in a greasy spoon, and like with like the richest people like on the team, and it just made me think like, you've done nothing but try and run away from this and demonize this, and now when it's making you money, you're like, you're glamorizing it. And I think there's this like absolute like, people are just desensitized to like what's going on around them. I always think as well, you'll see like magazines, like big magazines being like, oh, let's do a tracksuit like outfit in front of a high-rise building with some grain on it, and you just know that person has never lived on a council estate or lived in them experiences. What it
actually means
like,
to be there.
Yeah, there's such a like fine line between like fetishizing it and like appreciating it, and I just hope Raj comes across as the appreciating bit, because I've lived that, and I would never like put someone in an uncomfortable position where it felt like I was like taking like the mick out of like their childhood or their situation. It's more of an uplifting, because it's something you see that's familiar. Like, I think a lot of people who are working class like in the northeast, they see a lot of magazines and they don't reflect them, and it's not familiar, and it feels really out of touch. I think especially now in the political climate, like with the cost of living crisis, people are maybe turning away a bit from luxury because it feels a bit like Hunger Games, and the more turn into stuff that like feels familiar and feels like home and has that bit of nostalgia, than just like investing in something where that magazine isn't even going to know you by name that you've bought it. You're just another purchase on the website.
Yeah, so obviously it's been nearly a year now that you've been doing this, coming up. Obviously in that year a lot's happened, a lot of growth. What about your challenges? You must have faced some of them.
It's very stressful. Like, people are always like, oh my god, like, I love Raj, I want to do something like Raj. And I always say, like, when I was going into this, I was like, oh my god, I love doing artwork and I'd love making the magazine, but it is so stressful because you don't get a day off ever. I'm really, I say I'm a one-woman team, but my best friend Whitney Bay and my other best friend Meg Jepson, who does our feature photography, they help out when they can. And doing everything yourself, having to like turn up to events by yourself, and like people, like, it is a nice job to have. Oh, you're going to a premiere, or boohoo me, it's so hard. But like, it's finding that time, because I'm like, once you've got, say, issue 3, as soon as that was published, I had to straight away got into issue 4. Or you're constantly like having to like barter with people's management companies to try and get them into that magazine, or just organising everyone. Because we usually have about 30 submissions, like people that submit into the magazine. Organising 30 people over email is like the most stressful thing ever. And it's also very expensive to put out print. It's like a financial issue, and people are maybe a bit reluctant to invest. So that is hard, but I know as long as I can make my money back, like, I'll keep doing it. I don't even really pay myself at this point. Like, I've got a job on the side as well. I think people see it and think, oh my god, it's sunshine and roses at RADGE, but I'm doing a part-time job on the side of making a magazine. Like, yesterday I did like a 16-hour day of like my full-time job, my part-time job, coming home and then getting the magazine done. And as well, since the magazine's got bigger, obviously, like, I came to you, issue 1, like, literally had just come out before I went to London for Graduate Fashion Week, and we were like, I think we had about like 1,000 followers, and now we've got 12,000. So like, I wasn't not expecting it to grow like that big. And I think the more, like, I was speaking to my mum about it, and she was like, the bigger it gets, the more idiots are going to comment on stuff. And that's true. Like, say, like, with 3,000, it was like one person a week. Obviously it's bigger now, it's attracting more people, so there is just going to be stupid people that comment stupid stuff. This is why RADGE doesn't have a Facebook page, because our audience isn't on there.
It's not, no.
So like, the comments were like a bit brutal, but then I was like, I think I was upset for like 2 minutes, and then I was like,
you know what?
And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to use it to promote the magazine.
Good.
So then someone had commented, my favourite comment was, who funded this excruciating tosh? And I was like, I would have loved funding. Like,
yeah, that would have been great.
At least he thinks it's good enough that it's had funding. So I screenshot it and I put it on like Instagram to like promote it. And I sold like 20 magazines off the back of that one comment.
Oh.
So it's like, I just use it to my advantage now.
So was Dazed a bit of a pinch me moment, would you say?
Yeah. Because I'd always like, so before I started RADGE, I was a published artist anyway. And it's very much like the art that's in RADGE that you see on the front cover. And I had always been like, when I was doing my art account, don't really post on there anymore. I was like, I just want to be in Dazed. Like, I was seeing all these like amazing artists around me getting Dazed, and no one ever reached out, or I would email and would never hear back. Like Shy Ben's getting out, and then one of their journalists who actually lived in Blythe was like, she'd found me through like RADGE and was like, oh, I would love to do a feature. And I was like, oh my god, it was amazing. Like, I think as well, because Natalie, who wrote it, like you said, was from the north, but she lives in, I think, Swansea now. Yeah. Seeing someone from the north doing something with publishing, she had said, like, I wish this was here, like when I was here, because then I might not have had to move.
Love that.
So I think, like, it just making actual people that write for days saying they wouldn't have moved if it had RADGE, I was a bit like whoa.
Big, yeah. And you were in Huck.
I was. She's there.
So how was that experience?
Oh, that was like so good as well, because the interviews with Scott King, who used to be the art director for Sleaze Nation, rest in peace, and I was such like, and all my mood boards when I was like getting ready to make RADGE, even for issue 1, was Sleaze Nation covers, and like I just was like, so when Josh messaged me, Josh Jones, who's the editor, and he was like, oh, there's so many similarities, but like he's a man in his 50s from Hull, and you're a girl in your 20s from Newcastle now. And I was kind of scared to meet him, because he was like someone that's like I've got celebrities that I admire, and then I've got people creatively that I admire, and he's one of those that like, his like front covers have inspired a whole magazine from me, so I was so nervous, and I was like, I just want to make a good impression. But he was like, we had so much in common, which I was really like, I'm not surprised now, but at the time I was like, oh, like, I wonder if he just thinks I'm like just some stupid student like trying to do like a student project, but I'm not. I'm like, this is like a whole job and movement now. Like, I'm very serious about it. It's not one that I'd make one, get my grade and go. But we bonded over Butlins, because we both love Butlins. We bonded over Benidorm, about Scott has lived in Islington for ages now, like most of his adult life, but even like Scott was saying that there's something about the north that like he just wants to go back and visit it. I had to stand on a table though in like 7-inch heels, and I genuinely was so scared. Like, I thought I was gonna break my back. Took like 2 of the team to like help me up there, because they were like, would you do it? And I was like, I'm down for anything. I think as well, like, people like see me like I am quite like a girly girl. Like I am like a very like girly, like Georgie Dolly Bird vibe. And I think like if you're in like the art industry, they've got like a preconceived notion of how an artist should look. So sometimes I walk in a room and they're like, well, obviously not now, RADGE is like as big as it is, but it used to be, oh, like, you're not meant to be here. Which is why I started RADGE in the first place, because I did the Baltic Open submission in 2024, and I had my Parmo print like massive, said renationalise the Parmo, and there was like the preview night, so there was like a queue for people just seeing it and a queue for the artists. So I turned up in like this like ostrich feather lined like mini dress. Amazing. Them pink heels but in black, because I've got them in black as well, and like just some nice like swirly tights, and then had my roots done, had my nails done, was slaying. And so I walked to the queue with the artist, and another artist in the queue who I didn't know. She had quite a posh accent, but I'm not going to jump to conclusions. And she was like, she had a baby and a papoose on her as well. It was just, it was odd. So then she was like, this is a queue for the artists. You need to get to the back of that queue. And pointed at the queue of just people coming to see it. And I just went, I am the fucking artist. And just walked back in. I shouldn't say anything the rest of the night. But I think people think because, like, I'm quite, like, glam and then blonde. I'm not even a natural blonde.
Yeah.
Like, and, like, they have this preconceived notion. It's like, oh, it's just, like, some bimbo that's, like... But I'm actually quite clever.
So, talk us through that at 16. What are you doing? Like, what comes in your head to go... I want to create a heart. Like, what is it?
So when I was at school, I was always told, like, I think, like, a lot of people, you go to school, it's mainly working class people, like, there's no career in art. Like, when I was choosing, I was in, like, a few of the top sets, and I was told you could choose, like, one GCSE, the rest is, like, English, maths, RE, science. And then I was like, I want to do, like, art, GCSE art. And my mum actually had to go in and speak to my head of year because they were like, oh, well, that's kind of like a bottom set subject. So then I think my mum had said, like, no, you can do it. Because my mum's really creative, but felt the same as me. And she was like, went into nursing because she didn't think she could get a job in the creative industries. And I was like, well, there's no jobs in it. And she went, you will find a job in it. Like, if you're good at it and you want to do it, you will find a job. And I was like, okay. Now I'm looking back, I'm like, diva. When I'm a bazillionaire, she can get a villa. I did GCSE fine art, and, like, everyone else in my set was just people that obviously had, like, I think they just took it because they thought it was just, like, a free period. So there's people always kicking off. But, like, I enjoyed it. I could just put my headphones in for 2 hours and just do something creative. I went to the sixth form open day, and I had in my head, oh, I'm going to do sociology, psychology, and I think film studies. And we went to the textiles building, and my mum was like, yet again, I think you should be doing this and not psychology. Still do sociology. I think everyone should have to do sociology, not gonna lie. Like, it teaches you so much about, like, the people around you, and, like, I think everyone would have a much better understanding of their neighbours if they did sociology.
Great.
But so I did sociology, film studies, which is still creative, and textiles, and that's when, like, I think sixth form, when I was, like, 16, 17, is when I fully, like, just dove into being creative. Just think as well, like, especially with, like, working class people, like, sometimes, like, the situations aren't the best and they don't have parents to, like, be behind them and encourage that. A lot of people I went to school with, they wanted to go to uni, just didn't, because they had parents that were just so against it. So it's like having, like, someone behind you, just even if it's a teacher, it's because imagine if, like, I just listened to, like, 2 teachers I went, like, at my secondary school that were like, oh no, you need to do something, like, you're too clever to be doing art. Like, and then what would I be doing right now? Like, do you know what I mean?
Are you the only child, or do you?
No, I've got 4 little brothers. The youngest is 10.
Wow.
And the oldest of the 4 is 23. I don't really talk about this, but so my brother Oliver, he's 15 and he's autistic. Mm-hmm. And my brother Toby, he's 13. But when he was born, he had hydrocephalus. So they removed it. So it's like basically a cyst on his brain, and they couldn't remove it because it kept filling with fluid. And he was only like 4 days old. Wow. So they put like a stent in, but because they've done brain surgery at such a young age, he's like mentally 4. Okay. So like my mum had to leave her job, and she's like a carer now for Toby and for Oliver. So it's quite like I moved out when I was 17. Wow. Well, when lockdown happened, in with my boyfriend, because it was just like, we lived in a 3-bedroom house and there's 5 kids, and then it's quite difficult when you've got 2 like learning disabled kids in there, but like love them. Toby's so funny, like he's like such a RADGE fan. He's got like a RADGE sticker on the back of his Switch.
Going forward, like into the next sort of steps of your journey, what do you see in the near future for RADGE, or have you got anything exciting that you can talk about today?
Okay, fine, if you insist. We've got a Denise Welch feature.
It's so exciting.
That's a mouthful. Denise Welch feature.
Denise Welch, like
RADGE. When I was waiting for the Zoom call to start, I was like, my palms were sweaty, and I was like, the interview was at 10 a.m. and I was up at 6 because I was like, oh my god, I'm interviewing Denise Welch.
And be prepared.
And I think a lot of these times when like these big opportunities happen, I don't know whether it's because I'm just like not used to like landing on my feet, or I'm like just like, I think when you're like northern, you're a bit humble, or like,
you are.
I I was just like, I just always expect it to not happen. Like, even if like a minute before the interview, I'm like, what if she messages me in a minute and she's cancelled? Yeah. So when like, and then when you Zoom, like the host lets you in, I was like,
it's my time.
It's my time. But she was we were like literally on the call for like 40 minutes because we were just talking. Like, obviously, like I go into these things with questions, but I kind of just use them as a guide because I like to see like what the person's actually like.
Yeah.
And I'd rather them like have that rapport with them where they can be like, we're friendly enough to
just have a chat.
Yeah, I want them to come off like the call or away from the interview thinking, oh, like she sound her. Like,
yeah.
So it was just so good. Like, she was just saying stuff. Like, what did she say? I said, what do you think is RADGE, Denise? And she said that we can go to Mars and we've got all this technology to go to Mars, but they haven't invented a silent leaf blower. And I was like, you know what? I was like, why am I sat like on a random Monday talking about leaf blowers with Denise Welch?
Would you have thought that
no.
a year ago when you looked into your future?
Oh, it's like, I grew up with Waterloo Road and I love Waterloo Road, so I was like, imagine like being like 10 and then not knowing that you're going to interview Denise Welch in a few years. It's the same with Jade. Like, Jade buys the magazine and like she was my favourite member of Little Mix because she had purple hair. That was it for me, and I've seen them like live and stuff. Wow. So then when Jade like followed us, that was enough for me. But then when she bought a magazine and then messaged me and said it was a new favourite magazine, I was like, I don't know what to reply. Like, I don't know how to be like cordial to these people because I'd be like, oh my god, I love you
so much.
Yeah, like, love you, girl.
Yeah. Do you feel really proud of yourself when you think about that?
Yeah, like I think like sometimes I measure my success week by week, and I need to stop doing that because like some weeks I'll be like, oh, I've not done anything this week. I've just like sat and just made the magazine, or I've done a few pages, or I've replied to a few emails, nothing major's happened. And then the next week it'll be like, oh, you've got an interview with Denise Welch on Monday, and it's like I just need to take it day by day. I can be dramatic and I can be a bit of a diva where if something doesn't go my way straight away and it's a bit out of routine, I do kind of just like, I don't want to say kick off because that sounds a bit aggressive, but I am a bit like, do you know what I mean? Like if you like your plans change or
I'm the same.
It does jar me a bit, but also I'm quite good at the fact I can roll with the punches and I can be like, right, okay, I need to be stoic about this. This has happened, we can't change it, or we can use it to our benefit.
So is there anything in that sort of sense with your magazine and everything that you do and where you've went, this really isn't working, like a moment where you felt like you can't push through? Or do you feel like you always get back up?
Oh, like the other week I was having a bit of like a wobble. But that's the first time I've ever had like a big wobble, like, and I've been doing it a year. And I had also been out for bank holiday, so it might have just been like the 5 double vodkas that I had. Yeah. So, but I was just like, I do sometimes think nuance is lost on people, and obviously RADGE has positioned itself, and it will continue to position itself as a very progressive northeast magazine. But also at the same time, it's like sometimes now it's getting bigger, I need to compromise a bit more. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to maybe take PR on that is a bit less of an independent business, but it's gonna give the money to make it so the magazine can be cheaper for people to buy it. I was speaking to Katie, who's the history gossip. She gets on a bigger scale than me. She's like, yeah, and she's like, they don't see you as a real person. You just, to them, it's just the RADGE logo and it's RADGE. And Team RADGE, whoever that may be, me, Whitney and Meg. Yeah. They don't see it as like, oh, that's Meg Mcwilliam, or I'm fuming with her. It's just RADGE. All of this just stemmed from, I'd done PR for Freight Island, and a few people were like, oh, well, you don't support independent businesses. But I was like, I still do. Yeah. I still do. One post. And also I am an independent business. So, like, I still do support independent businesses. Just sometimes we need to compromise a little bit. I'm not saying, like, take on, like, a really corrupt company and, like, take money from them. But you've got to kind of compromise just so I can make it more accessible to the people that want to buy it.
That are working class.
We've got to give and take in these situations. Nothing's black and white.
So what would you hope for the future of RADGE? I know you've said things that you've got going on.
Oh, I've got so many ideas.
If you had a 5-year, 10-year even, what do you see for RADGE and what would you like to see for RADGE?
I really want it to become, like, obviously I pay myself a bit, but I want to be able to pay myself, it be my full-time job. I want to be able to hire Whitney and Meg properly, I would love... It'd probably be a bit more leopard print and pink, but
obviously, yeah.
I would love an office, like a studio where I can just work, do workshops, like actually have people, like instead of meeting someone for a coffee, come to me. We'd love to do an award ceremony. I hate it when magazines have loads of adverts, but have enough adverts to make it even cheaper. Because, like, obviously it has gone down in price, but in my ideal world, I'd be able to, like, throw them at people. Like, like, you know, when Oprah's like, you get a car, like, you get a RADGE, I would love to be able to just do something like that. But if I didn't, then there would be no RADGE. People are so desensitized. I can't even say the word. Desensitized.
That's it.
Desensitized.
Yes.
By digital media because it's free. Whereas, I mean, some places you've got to subscribe, but like the likes of like Lad Bible and like Dazed articles and Polyester, like obviously they have their own like print as well. People just think, oh well, it's on there. I'll just read it on there. But I think it's just so nice to just have something physical. Because I think as well, when you're talking about North East working class culture, and it's physical, it has more of an impact because it sticks with you and it's tangible then. And it's not just some throwaway clickbait story online. It's like very real. And I think a lot of people in RADGE, it's their first time being published physically. And it just means a lot more, I think.
Is there anything that you want anyone to hear or know before you go? Asha, I've got one last question for
yeah, okay. I'll have a think.
Yeah. So before you go, is there any piece of advice, and you can think about this, advice or anything that like inspires your work now that you want the next person to hear on the podcast? Could be from anyone. Denise Welch.
Well, I was gonna say she did give me there's like a section in the feature, and I did ask her what she would like advice she would give to like a northern creative because like, she has done so well for herself. Yes. And she said you're gonna knock at a lot of doors and they're gonna say no, but you got to keep knocking and you'll get no's. But then one day you'll knock and you'll get a yes. You've just got to keep knocking. Wow. And I was like, that is so inspirational, Denise.
That is actually lovely. Really good, Denise.
Yeah, I know. I might get a tattooed or something.
Yeah, that's your next tattoo. No, that is lovely advice though, because it is very true, especially in the North East. You get knocked doan a lot because there's
you're all fighting for the same one opportunity.
Yeah. Happy to wrap up.
Yeah. By issue 4.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
you. It was really nice to talk to you, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more from you in the shop.
I'm not going anywhere.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.